Hi, my name is Gennie and I'm one of the developer support engineers here at Netreo, and I work on the Stackify product by Netreo Retrace. And today I am going to be conducting a session called Logs, Errors, and Comprehensive Performance Insights with Retrace. So thank you for joining. Just a reminder that throughout this session, we have a live chat going on. So throughout when I'm talking about the different components of our log and error dashboards, if you have any questions or concerns, go ahead and put that in the chat, and I would be happy to answer any and all of your questions. And thanks again for joining. So let's get into it. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. All right, so we're already looking at our log dashboard. So how to get to our log dashboard, we're going to go to our main menu and click on logs here at the top. And then we just go ahead and click view logs, and that takes us to our log dashboard, our general log dashboard. So we are already seeing that it's going to be defaulted to the last 4 hours, and we don't have any filters set up yet either. So we're going to talk about that a little bit later, but I just wanted to say that this is the default view of our log dashboard when we initially view it. So there are 2 ways that you can log to Retrace. You can log via our agent, which means that you have our agent installed on one of your servers, and then you can go ahead and send your logs from your various applications to Retrace to see in a centralized location. The other way that you can log to our dashboard is via our API. Now, this means that you have a package installed on your application, and you don't need that agent installed on your server. You're just following a few different configuration steps, and then you can send your logs from a certain application to our log dashboard as well. Now, these steps are outlined in our documentation page. If you go ahead and go to docs.stackify.com, you'll be able to see all of that outlined there. And just to talk a little bit about the languages and different frameworks that we support. So we support 6 different languages: .NET, PHP, Python, Java, Node.js, Ruby, and I think I'm missing another, but that's okay. And we support numerous different frameworks for each of those languages. So for example, .NET, we support Serilog, Log4Net, and Mlog as well. And if you go to our same documentation page, you will get to see all of that in-depth information on what frameworks we do support and which ones you can configure. So let's go ahead and dive into our log dashboard. So many of our clients set up logging levels that log both information, general knowledge, as well as just notices, combined with errors. So errors and logs are intrinsically linked. We have one ELM feature, our errors and log management feature. But I'm going to go ahead and separate those into 2 different categories, our log dashboard and our error dashboard. So I'm going to go ahead and talk more about our log dashboard first, and then we will move on to our error capabilities. So for our log dashboard, we're going to go ahead and look at a specific application, and I will go ahead and talk more about filtering later on, but we're going to go ahead and look at our example .NET application. So if you go ahead and go to the left-hand side, you're going to see a little page there. If you click on it, you can click on View Related. Now, viewing related is going to show you a closer look at all of the logs that happen both before and after the log message that you clicked on. So it just gives you a little bit more of an in-depth look and get to see the context behind a certain log message. Now, the next feature I'm going to talk about is our real-time tailing. So up at the top, we have this green play button here that says tail next to it, and that is our real-time tailing feature. So if we click on real-time tailing, we can see the logs come in real time. So as our applications are running, as they're sending logs to Retrace, we are seeing them come in real time in our dashboard. And that is one of our popular features. If you are debugging in real time, you can see those logs come in as you're looking at your code of your application. Now we're going to talk about filters. So there are 2 ways to filter our log dashboard. So what's amazing about our log dashboard, it is a centralized logging feature. So that means all of your applications, all of the levels of your logging, information, noticed, error, warning, everything goes to a singular platform, which we are looking at right now. But let's say, so for our sandbox application, which is what which is the account we're looking at right now, we want to look at a specific application. So I don't want to see our example Java app. I don't want to see our example PHP app. I purely want to look at our example .NET Core application. So I'm going to go ahead and do that in a slower motion. So up here, we have our filters bar. So we can filter by app name, environment, our host or our server. We can filter by log level, and we can filter by log type. So I'm going to go ahead and show you. We click on app name, and right now we are filtering by example.NET Core. So we are only seeing the logs from our example.NET Core application. We click apply, and that is what shows up on our dashboard. Now let's say our .NET Core, we also want to see our scheduled task, and we also want to see Spring Pet Clinic, and let's say we also want to see web app too. Go ahead and apply. And let's say we only want to see the logs in a certain environment. So we only want to see the logs that are from our sandbox environment. We are currently debugging an application in our sandbox environment, and we only want to see that. We can go ahead and click apply here. And here we go. We are only seeing logs from those 4 applications that we clarified, as well as from the singular environment that we specified as well. Now, let's go ahead and, so let's say we want to go back to the default view. We can just go ahead and click reset up at the top. We might take this back to our main dashboard. No filters are set, and we're seeing logs from the last 4 hours. Let's say we just want to look at warnings. We want to look at all of our warning level logs. So we're going to go ahead. We clicked on log level in our filter bar, and then we're going to click on warning in our log level window, apply. And now we are seeing all of the warning logs from all of our applications. And so those are some of the ways that we can do that. We also have log type. So if we click on log type, we can see .NET logs, PHP logs, sys logs. This is also where we can specify if we just want to see server logs as well. And go ahead and close that and reset. So that is the first way we can filter the data in our log dashboard. The second way we can filter our data in log dashboard is over on the right-hand side here. All the way on this side, we see something that says fields. We're going to go ahead and click on that. And here we can also filter. So we can filter again on app name, and it shows up all of the app names. So again, let's say we want .NET Core, Java app, Node app, PHP app. Go ahead and click apply. Wait for it to load. 50 seconds. We can also filter on a couple different things too. We can filter on errors. We can filter on environment as well, and we can filter on web logs. So this is just a more in-depth view of what we can see when we filter from fields. So I'm going to go ahead and click reset again too. Now, there is no better way to filter, but we can filter on both ways. So up here in our filters area, or up on the right-hand side with our fields view. Now I am going to move into searches. So let's say we filtered in the way that we want to. So I'm going to go ahead and do that really fast. We're going to go ahead and look at our example.NET Core, apply. And let's say that we only want to see logs that have the entry database query here. So I'm going to go ahead and type database query in here, hit return. And now we are only seeing the logs with the text database query. We can also do the same thing for app names. So let's say that we reset, and for whatever reason, we do not want to use this filter up here, app name. We can use this up here. So we can say we only want .NET logs. And now we are seeing .NET logs as well. You can combine search parameters. So let's say that we want to see logs with the level info and with the keyword sample. So we're going to go ahead and search level info and sample. And now we are seeing, okay, we're seeing logs that are of the info level and that contain the keyword sample in the logs. Now you can use and, you can use or, you can use not as well. If you're searching for a special character, you're going to go ahead and need to use that backslash and escape, we call it an escape character, to go ahead and search for. Let's say you wanted to search for an exclamation mark. Now, when users use our feature, they tend to be searching for the same things over and over again. So let's say we're debugging and we want to look for, do a different search. Oh, we're going to go ahead and do example.core. Search that we have there, example.core, and we are looking at this application, and we are constantly looking at this swallowed exception. Always, we're just like every day we're typing in the same search over and over and over again. We're looking for swallowed exception. Now we can create what is called a saved search. So we're going to go ahead and go to this button up at the top. See it says save. This is a new search. So we are searching for hashtag swallowed exception of example.net core. Save. And reset everything. So when I log into the main dashboard again, and I don't have any filters and I don't have any searches, I can go ahead over here to searches. And see here we have swallowed exception.net core. We go ahead and click view. And we can see all of the swallowed exceptions from .NET Core without having to go ahead and put those filters in and type in the search again for another time. This just saves a lot of time for our users. You can have a bunch of different set searches. So if you want to toggle between two searches, you can do so very easily. Now let's move on to a special search called hashtag has trace. So hashtag has trace is all, go ahead and get rid of the app and change the time zone. Please. Wait for it to load a little bit. So hashtag has a trace goes to all of the logs that contain traces. So let's say we are profiling an application with our APM and we want to see all of the corresponding traces. So, you know, in APM, we have code traces that show up for certain applications. So all of these logs that then show up have a trace associated to them in APM. So we can go ahead and go to the right and click on trace. And we will see that trace show up. Now this log is out of our time frame, so it's not going to show us a trace, but you could go to the trace and see the different code that resulted in that log. This is also part of our tagging feature. So you can see if we reset, and it was the same with our swallowed exception. Earlier with the example that we went over, we had a hashtag swallowed exception, meaning we had a tag swallowed exception. So if you want to speed up your searches, so let's say you have a set of logs that you want to be able to see consistently over and over again, you can hashtag that with a certain phrase and then be able to search that through our centralized system. So let's say here, we have hashtag Ruby right here. And we want to see all of the logs that have that hashtag. You just type in the search bar hashtag Ruby, and that is all shown here as well. Awesome. So let's go ahead and move on to our error dashboard. So similar, we went to logs by clicking logs and view logs. For errors, we can go ahead and click errors and view errors. We're just going to go over a few things with errors in log dashboard first. So let's go ahead and reset. delete search. And we're going to click on log levels there and see all of the errors. So our errors show up again, same as logs across multiple servers, apps, and environments. Visually, you can see these logs and the errors when exploring them all together. So they're all consolidated in a certain platform, and you can jump to any point in time to view those logs. So let's go ahead and click view related here. And see, that's going to take us to all of the logs surrounding that error before and after. So we have an error and we have all of the logs surrounding it as well, which we went over in the view related functions earlier. We can also go from errors to full transaction trace. So we can exit that and hit view. So from that error that we had in the log dashboard, we are now able to jump to a full transaction trace that is showing us exactly where that error resulted from in our code. So we can go ahead and see details such as when the error occurred, what app it was from, the server it was from, the URL, the root, the method, as well as a transaction trace right here. This way you can see the related log messages to the error, you can see the transaction traces, and this all helps with overall troubleshooting. So we have a lot of users are very satisfied with our error functionality in our log dashboard. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to our error dashboard. So we're going to go ahead and click errors and view errors as you just saw. And that's going to take us to our error dashboard summary tab. So this is an overview of all of the errors that have occurred across all of our applications. And automatically Retrace deduplicates errors. So you're only seeing individual error instances with a count of occurrences rather than all of the errors listed out individually. For example, if we scroll down, the first error we're seeing is a string exception from our example Java app. And you can see that that has occurred 160 times in the last 4 hours. Now you're not seeing 160 occurrences of that exact string exception. We deduplicate that for you so you can see unique errors and the associated number of occurrences. Now we can also go to the details tab. So next to summaries, we have details. And this is going to show us all of the errors in the order that they have occurred. You might see that this looks familiar. It mirrors the formatting of our log dashboard, but it just shows you the errors as well. Now, another very common use for our error dashboard is tracking the number of errors between deployments. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to the summaries. Now here in this bar, each of these dotted lines symbolize a deployment. So here you can see we had an example.NET app deployment. Now let's go ahead and filter by example. That. So let's say we wanted to see all of our example.NET applications, and we notice that here we have a deployment for example.NET. So between here and our next deployment, previously and in front of it, we can see, okay, have our errors increased since the deployment, and just be able to track, did the deployment result in an increased amount of errors? Let's go ahead and click on a specific error. This one. My apologies. Go ahead and do that. Now, for each error, Retrace attempts to collect a URL, a full stack trace, any of the user details available, as well as header, session, and cookie values, which you can all see in the error details values. Now, again, as errors occur, there are 5 different states that they can be in. So they can be active, which means that the errors are current and have not regressed or attempted to be resolved. They can be resolved, which you can mark as soon as you fix an error that has occurred. They can be regressed, which means it was a resolved error, but now the error has occurred again, so it has regressed into an active state. they can be a new error. So it can be any error that has appeared for the first time in the time range searched. And finally, they can be ignored. So let's say that you have an error that is just a lot of noise and you don't really care about it. You can ignore the error and then it will be classified as ignored. So it won't make any noise, it won't alert you or anything like that. It won't cause any disruption. I'm gonna go ahead and click out of that. And that concludes my presentation. Now we talked about the log dashboard and all the functionality there with filters and fields and all of the searches that you can do. We went ahead and talked about the error dashboard in terms of, how to filter on the errors, what errors you're seeing, and the details that Retrace attempts to collect, as well as the different states that errors can be classified as. So I'm going to go ahead and conclude this presentation, but we have a few more minutes before we can move on to the next session. So if anyone has any questions or concerns or any further clarification that they would like, please go ahead and put that in the chat. And thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it.
Running. Come on.